take a look at the Ghana Premier League. We've waited for it. Dates were announced, and now it's time to roll into action. 3 new clubs in the Ghana Premier League, and well, another wonderful Saturday, and I'm glad to welcome you to the Joy Sports Link here on Joy 99.7 FM, which is also live on our YouTube channel. So greetings to all of our friends who are joining us from all over the world. Thank you all so much for making today part of the custom for your Saturday, as you've always done for close to 30 years. We're very grateful to all of you for always making us your preferred choice for the issues and the personalities. Today, we're throwing focus on what will definitely be an obvious and something or some subjects that we cannot stop talking about. Well, yesterday on Game Plan, we started things off with the rest of the team yesterday. I was there in the studio, here in the studio myself. And today, we're continuing this because on Saturday afternoons around this time, we like to throw the focus on the issues, go deep into them, and of course, broaden the scope of the conversation. Yes, we'd have to talk about the Black Stars. Yes, we'd have to talk about the result. And yes, we'd have to talk about the quality of the pitch. Yes, we would have to talk about the behavior of the fans after the game and vandalizing property. We'll look at the history of all of these kinds of incidents, what indication it is giving us in terms of those in authority in football, and how we should proactively plan for the future when it comes to game and venue management, and also project into the future. When we're looking at the immediate future, the Black Stars also have another immediate assignment lying ahead of them, which will be a part of the qualification series. After that as well, we'll take a look at the Ghana Premier League. We've waited for it. Dates were announced, and now it's time to roll into action. 3 new clubs in the Ghana Premier League, and, we probably just could get a surprise from one of them, as we've had with stories in the past in the Ghana Premier League. We'll be looking at quality, we'll be looking at the preparation of the clubs, and we'll also be looking at where the excitement will lie and what we also need to do in terms of promotion to get the Premier League going and get conversations around the Premier League going. But of course, we're going to start off on the note of the Black Stars and all of the issues that came up after that game that was played on Thursday. Of course, the ground in Kumasi on the Babara, edifice is one which is a hallowed ground. There's one which is worshipped. It is one which is seen to be a spiritual ground when it comes to our football. But that was desecrated yesterday by Angola for the first time in 24 years. And you'd want to ask yourself, why did this happen? How could we avert these kinds of happenings? And how can we keep Kumasi as the place where the Black Stars go and get massive support, which results in positive results? All of these and more are here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Remember, it's 055 1111997. 055 1111997. You can also join us on our various channels on X and on our Facebook pages. You can send in your messages, and we'll be glad to read some of them. I'll be sharing some of them with you as well. And if there are any questions as well, I'll be posing them to my guests here as well. So 3 strong guests to discuss the issues here this afternoon on today's Joy Sports Link, this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Here with me is the Player Relations Manager of the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana. He's got great perspective because he's also played in the Ghana Premier League, played for Mediama SC, and has a vast understanding of what we should be doing when it comes to getting ourselves ready for a big Ghana Premier League season. Away from that as well, there are issues around the game that was played on Thursday at the Babara Stadium. Also joining us is seasoned football columnist and analyst Kojo Adai-Mensah, a specialist in the area of finance and project financing, but a great follower of everything Black Stars, everything the Ghana Premier League, and of course everything Liverpool. Today, Kojo Adai-Mensah will be bringing his perspective to the show. He's not been here for a while, so we'll be having him as well. And then, of course, we'll be getting the perspective of former Black Starlets coach and former Black Stars midfielder, Coach Laye Kingston. He watched the game. He has some technical analysis to do for us. And so there's a lot to discuss this afternoon here on the Joy Sports Link. And that's the reason why I'm glad to have you out there as my guest. Thank you all very much for joining us. And I trust that we're going to have a wonderful conversation as we go along between now and the top of the hour, 2 p.m. All right, Philip, thank you very much for joining. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Nat.
We haven't spoken on the show in about, what, like 2 years?
I think I was here. Was it last year?
Sometime last year. Yeah. Great to have you. Great to have you again. And of course, let me go virtual and have a hello to Kojo Adai-Mensah and Coach Laye Kinsey. Kojo, good to have you on the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, good to be back on the show after a while. And for some strange reason, the last time I was on your show, on the other side was my main man, Bra Laye.
Of course.
For some reason, you bring the two of us together all the time.
Great stuff. Laye, good to see you. Good to see you, Coach.
Thanks for having me here. Kojo,
yeah.
It's always good to be partnering you.
Always good.
All right. Yeah, gentlemen, and we have to introduce Philip to Laye Kinsey has some special inner caucus tilapia, celebration that we do. The nice grilled tilapia, we'll invite all of you to it. Philip, you have to taste that tilapia,
Right.
Yeah. The guys who grill the tilapia hold Laye in high esteem, so they grill it with special spices. I see Kojo is smiling very well.
I am thinking about it. I'll be chasing it down.
All right. Gentlemen, let me start off with you, Kojo. We unfortunately, yesterday on Friday when I was having the chat with the guys on Game Plan, I spoke about my journey as a sports journalist and how unfortunately fatigued I am talking about subjects that are supposed to be basic for us as Ghanaians. Subjects as basic as football pitches and how good they are. And guys, I want us to put this in perspective. I'm glad Laye is here because, Philip, the last time that we had a special, cup game played, it was between the parliamentarians and the former Black Stars legends. Coach Laye Kinsey played in that game as well. I was on the pitch at the Accra Stadium, and he will tell you. Nobody wants to paint any dark picture, but we need to say the truth as it is. It wasn't for a national stadium, and for everything that has been professed about maintaining that pitch. It wasn't something pretty, and I wasn't proud of it. But let me start with you, Kojo. You've been very vocal about some of these things. Yes. Kojo is a Liverpool fan. From time to time, he flies out there, he goes to, and coincidentally, the last time I went to view an English Premier League game, it was at Anfield.
Okay.
And that is the standard. Yeah. Anfield has a fine, it's called a deso fiber, pitch, which has a mixture of natural and synthetic.
Yes. Yeah,
and it's fantastic. We haven't gotten there.
Ultraviolet lights that were being used to maintain it.
Yes.
You have this ultraviolet thing that...
I beg you, Kojo, now, I beg you. Now, the way you go, yeah, it's too advanced for us. But Kojo, let's get to the conversation now. Look.
Yeah, right.
How do you feel that in 2024, we're still having conversations about pitch management?
It's so sad. And the Angolan coach said it when he said, a big nation like Ghana, he can't believe that a big nation, football nation like Ghana, doesn't have one standard stadium. And you know what? The point I'm making is that as recently as 2008, 2000, we hosted CAN. We co-hosted.
Yes.
In 2008, we fully hosted. So just 16 years ago, we were at the CAF level. We had 4 stadia and training pitches that were approved by CAF. So that was just 16 years ago. Now, as the years go by, the regulations and the requirements, honestly, they change and they have to improve. But why haven't we improved with it? Because we all know what the conditions are, and then we close down a stadium, we are renovating, we open the stadium, CAF comes to inspect, and we don't pass. So on what criteria or what basis are we using to improve the stadium? You get the point I'm making. Just 16 years ago, we hosted AFCON. It's not like it's 30, 40 years ago. So I'm lost for words, but are we really serious about our sporting infrastructure and facilities? To the extent that the last time Thomas Partey had an opportunity to talk to the vice president, the first thing he mentioned was the state of the pitch.
That is very true.
And for him to be flying down to come and play this Angola game and be told that the pitch he bemoaned is actually worse than the state in which it was when he was bemoaning. Psychologically, and I will bring perspective to that. How do you expect him to come and give his all? I don't. If we are really, really serious about this game, we better put our money where our mouth is. Look, the Bernabeu Stadium was renovated, and it was the Bernabeu. No, Real Madrid vacated the place for a whole season or more, and fixed it to the category A standard that UEFA requires. You know, Anfield are doing same. We attempted to move away from Anfield. We didn't get the building rights permission like Everton did. Everton got it, so they are building their new stadium at the dock end. But we didn't get it. What did we do? We closed down one stand at a time, and then we renovate one stand at a time and take care of the grass. I can't believe that. Look, Wembley does concerts, but they do put in the appropriate measures so that the field is not destroyed. I can't understand why we can't plant grass in Accra, in Ghana. We can't plant grass. That's the bottom line. Why is that?
You mean we don't know how to plant grass? We don't know how to plant grass. That is it, right?
But what else should I say?
Yes, we don't. That's the truth.
We don't.
Yeah, we don't.
But if I may come in, we know how to plant grass, but we need the right grass that you should plant. The right grass. You know, every grass is grass. It's not every grass that we use on the football pitches. You know, we have different type of grass that it helps in football fields. You know, you mentioned of something that Kojo, that for me, I think you did well on that. You see, those players that are coming from Europe, I saw all of them play. I watched all of them play during the weekend. They all played in a high quality, great grass, on high quality, great grass. And then in 2-3 days' time, they have to fly down to come and meet such grass. Of course, it's going to affect them because the movement of the ball on that pitch that they played in Europe and the movement of the ball that they've met in Ghana will be different. The ball will not move fast. For example, as a coach, I always want my pitch to be very fast. So that's why sometimes I encourage, before my match as a coach, I encourage the groundsmen to put water on the pitch so that the ball will move fast. That comes to the way I want my team to play. I always want my team to play, put the ball on the ground and move the ball faster. And if the ball is fast, then we can enjoy the game because I want very high intensive play all the time. So for me, sorry to cut you. For me, I know, we have grass in Ghana. We know how to plant grass, but it depends on how quality the grass is. We should find the right grass to plant in Ghana. With that, I think the kind of players that we have technical players. We need a very good pitch to play on. Let me tap on the new stadium that they just built in Takwa. I was there for the opening. Very fantastic edifice. Very fantastic. You go to the dressing rooms, amazing. The quality of that development is top notch. The most disappointing thing is I got on the pitch and it's the same quality of grass that we have in Accra Sports Stadium, that we have in Kumasi, that we have in the Legon Stadium. The same quality of grass. So for me, as a technical person, that I know what quality grass is, I was a bit disappointed. Just last AFCON, I was in Ivory Coast. I managed to see even their training grounds, training pitches for the teams. The quality of the pitch, of the grass that they use in Ivory Coast. Why can't we do that? They say. You know, sometimes it's very sad. Some of us that we have exposure from outside Ghana. If we see these things, we have to sit down. Yesterday, when I listened to the post-match interview from the Angolan coach, I was really, really sad. I was disappointed for us to sit down, for the Angolan coach to come to Ghana and criticize Ghana. And what he put out there that a country like Ghana, so that shows the quality or the respect that he have for Ghana when it comes to football. So for me, I agree with you. We have to find the right people that can plant our grass for us. When you look at the infrastructure of the stadium, for me, I think we have one. It's not bad. We have the best stands when you talk about stands. But the quality of the pitch and football comes to the stadium to watch good football. And if the pitch that we don't focus on and we think is just grass, and for me, where I'm sitting, I need a very good pitch for my players to be able to play well for me. So to cut you, this is what I can contribute on that.
All right, let's get back to you to finish your point. Yes, Kojo.
Nat, you see, let me add this. The point that people make, and I hear them, that it wasn't only 11 Ghanaian players who were on the field of play, but it was 22 players because the Angolans too played on the same field of play and all that. All fair and square. But let's not forget, the Angolans started complaining about the pitch a week or two before they even arrived. And they still complained. It's not like they were happy with the pitch. And I don't think they even played. They also couldn't have played their best. Look, the goal they.
Yep.
Sad. Guys, let me pick the first submission from Philip Asiwe. Philip Asiwe has had the benefit of playing in the Ghana Premier League. He played, he played for Mediama SC. When it came to tertiary education as well, he found himself in the United States of America, qualified to do Virginia Tech and also Liberty University, played football for them. And I'm sure that, he also has some to add to it. Now, the conversation about our domestic football, which obviously is what has developed into what we see with our national team football,
right,
is another conversation altogether. The kinds of pitches we play on in Ghana.
Yeah.
And what it does, and I'm asking you this purely because of your job relating to these players who experience these pitches, some of which are worse than what we see at Baba Yara, on a weekly basis.
Yep. I mean, it's just difficult, really, trying to compete on these kind of fields, because as a footballer, what you don't want to think about is the field and how the ball is going to come to me. It's just supposed to be normal, second nature, that when the pass is coming, it should just come at a certain pace, at a certain angle. I don't need to think about expecting bounces and all these things. But our pitches, unfortunately, don't give us that kind of, luxury. So a pass is coming in, you are worried about how you're going to receive the pass. Am I going to get a bounce or is something going to happen? And when the ball finally comes in, ideally you want to play a 1 touch, 2 touches. You're not getting that. You're probably taking 4 or 5 touches before, you're able to put the ball under control and then you pass it. So you have maybe agents come in, you have people come in and then they tell you, your game is too slow. And the games are slow because of how the pitches are. And just like Laye indicated, maybe he wants his team to play fast. And there is a tactical reason for it. But the pitches basically throws away all the tactics, because if you're not in the position to play as fast as you want to play, then, basically you're just going to probably balloon the ball. We have Thomas Partey, who is arguably one of the best one-touch footballers. You watch him in the EPL all the time. Ball comes in, he's like 2 or 3 plays ahead of the game. He touches, he moves it. But you watch the game on Thursday, and when the ball comes in, he's taking about 3 or 4 touches before he plays a pass. And ideally, the defenders are going to see the window and the gap is going to get closed. So you're ridding yourself of opportunities, you're ridding yourself of, playing faster, and ultimately it affects the team going forward. And, locally, you're playing in Daewoo, you're playing, at Takwa back in the day, you're going to Doma, you're going to Bechem, all these pitches. You have players, getting all sorts of injuries, rolling their ankles. People are, having knee issues and all of that, basically because of the kind of pitches that we play on. And now there's the introduction of AstroTurf. So you have Karela back in the day playing at, the CAM park in Unase.
Yeah.
You have Vision, who is now going to play at Tema. And these guys are playing on AstroTurf pitches. And you ask yourself, what kind of turf are they playing on? Is it the right kind of AstroTurf that is supposed to be playing on? Because, they are great of pitches. And if it's not what it's supposed to be, they pick up all, joint injuries and, tearing ACLs and MCLs and all sorts of nasty injuries. And the sad part is the clubs don't even take care of them when they get injured. So you play for a team, you get injured, and, good luck with the rest of your career. If you're able to afford, getting health care, then that's great. If not, you're doomed, basically.
If you just joined us, we're live here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. A wonderful Saturday, and glad to have your company here. Greetings to all of our friends who are joining us on our live stream on YouTube as well from all over the world. Bring in your comments. I'll be sharing some of them with you as we go along, and we will be glad to have it. We're starting on this subject of the pitches because we're having to talk about it because it's something major, and ahead of what was the performance and the result, which is also another issue we need to discuss. This has come up in a very unfortunate way, and we have to tackle it. Now, we today on the Joy Sports Link are covering it from the angle of the analyst, the fan who goes to the stadium and we're seeing this through the eyes of Kojo Adai-Mensah, who's one sitting in corporate Ghana, watching these games, spending his money to support the national team, and also giving feedback through the articles that he writes in various columns. Contributing as a football pundit as well on various broadcasts for the national team games and big club football games. Now we also want to see from the perspective of Philip Asiwe, who is player relations manager for the welfare body under our football, which is the welfare arm of FIFA, PFAG, Ghana's branch of the welfare arm of FIFA, which is FIFPro. And he is tackling this from the angle of the players who see this on a regular basis. Now, Laie Kingston has had the benefits of all three sides. He's sat in the stands and watched it. He's played the game at the highest level. He's played these qualifiers before, and he knows what it means to leave Europe to come home and face some of these things. And sometimes when the players are making the complaints, we sit back and say they're being too fussy. But now we're having to tackle this. And that's the reason why we're having this conversation and tackling it from this angle and paying this much attention and spending this much time on it like we're always doing. Remember, it's 055-111-997. If you're outside of Ghana, it's +233-55 1111997. Bring in the messages. Let's share with everyone else, and let's ask the questions the way we would always want to ask them. Okay, so gentlemen, let's now look at the element of. We're going to go into the element of solutions and what we think the solutions should be, because this is what the Joy Sports Link is about. After we look at the problem, we have to propose the solutions. All right, so now we're facing a risk of having CAF stamp the authority and say, listen, you guys go and play in another jurisdiction because you do not have any stadium or any stadia that matches requirements. We've always used relationship in the background to ask the people to, relax a few rules.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, with regards to solutions, I remember, I think a couple months ago, CAF had a club licensing workshop down in Ghana, and I was privileged to be a part of. So I went in there, basically just to sit and understand what it really takes when, CAF wants to approve a stadium for, maybe an AFCON qualifier or World Cup qualifier, and what they really look out for. And we had a chance of going to the University of Ghana, the newly built stadium as part of our, on-site workshop. And I mean, it was just unfortunate when I found out that we spent a lot of money building that stadium, and that stadium is not even approved to host, the highest level of, in terms of category for maybe an AFCON qualifier or a CAF or Confederations, league qualifier.
So hold on a second. So Samatex, for instance, wants to play their CAF Champions League games, you know, the qualifying stage games there, they cannot play there at the Legon Stadium. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but they might get a bye for maybe the first or the second level, but eventually they're not going to get to play there. They're probably going to move them down to Kumasi. And that the same thing happened last season when Dreams, you know, played in Accra. If you can remember, they played a few games in Accra, and eventually, as they moved up the ladder, Accra wasn't, you know, fit for purpose anymore. So they ended up going all the way to Kumasi to play the rest of the games.
Now, let's quickly go before I come back to Kojo and Coach Lai Kingston. Now, what is it? Let's get a little deeper. What is it? What are the key elements or key compliance measures that Kumasi are failing to meet, that, you know, Accra Stadium are failing to meet, because of which we are not able to host these Category A games?
I mean, Kojo rightly mentioned that, you know, we built maybe Accra, Kumasi, Esipo, and Tamale 16 years ago. So definitely there were certain standards that were, you know, being expected of us back then. But as time goes on, you know, CAF, you know, basically switches up, you know, the rules, and there are certain additions and all of that they need to, you know, basically add up. But one key thing that the director of professional football mentioned with regards to, you know, all the managers that were around was the fact that I always ask myself, is Sadio Mane good enough, or is this pitch good enough to host Sadio Mane or Mohamed Salah?
These are African players,
yeah,
fellow Africans.
Exactly. You know, and, you know, you go to maybe University of Ghana field, and maybe you take maybe a certain radius of the pitch, and you can count about 7 or 8 different species of grass. So you would ask yourself, is it really grass? I mean, it looks green on one side, but once you get on it, you can see like all sorts of, you know, species of grass on it, and there are, you know, certain patches which are, you know, basically just dirt.
Foreign, yeah.
And there's nothing there, you know, potholes and all of that. And he said, you know, so he asked all the you know, participants that were present, coming in for about 13 or 14 different countries. And everybody said, no, this pitch is not good enough to host, you know, the kind of, maybe a Category A level of games. And it went, you know, they have an entire like booklet that you need to check off. So it's like a checklist. So move to the dressing room. There were towels in there. I mean, players are wearing cleats. There is water on the floor. It's easy for them to trip, you know. And there's just, you know, just simple basic stuff that, you know, maybe if there was deeper consultations with, you know, people from maybe club licensing, they probably would have been able to advise them on, you know, all those things, even to get us very close to, you know, getting that place, you know, approved. So it's just like basic consultations, trying to make sure that you're making the pitches worthy of, you know, our stars coming in. We have 6 players playing in the English Premier League. That started on Thursday. And they played, you saw the kind of pitches they played on a few days before. And they come in and, you know, they're basically playing on a potato farm. And you expect to get results from them. It doesn't work like that.
Okay. All right. So that feedback is well taken. So Coach Gongalves had a point. Coach Otuado had a point. Whether we like it or not, they had a point. That is the long and short of it. Keep your messages coming. I'll be getting to them very shortly. Kojo, I want you to tell me, you know, what it is that you want to say to leadership based on the statements you've heard this week, before we get into what solutions you want to propose, before we go on to the issue of the results and the play and what we also need to sort out before Tuesday. Kojo?
Okay, Nat, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, okay. Let me cede this slot to my senior Lai, because as soon as Philip finished, I could see he wanted to make a point.
Okay,
so I know I'm not the host. I know I'm not directing.
No problems, no problems. That's fine.
I'll see this. Okay,
Coach. Lai, please give us, you know, what because, you know, we've had a few incidents. I remember Kevin Prince Boateng's story, for instance, when we found out that Kevin Prince Boateng at a certain point was protecting his legs and didn't want to go on certain qualifiers. That also brought a certain level of discomfort amongst his teammates in the Black Stars team. I found out all of that when we were qualifying for Brazil. Right. And then he came in on the last day in Egypt, and he made the most important mark, which was to score a goal. Yeah. And now you are looking back and you are thinking, we can't blame Kevin too much for that decision he took, for staying away from some of the qualifiers we were playing. Yep. Lai, what do you want to say to leadership, regarding especially the kinds of responses that we have gotten? I mean, the kind of language that has been used regarding the state of the pitch and the complaints that are coming. And then we can quickly visit the fans and the misbehavior and the vandalizing of property at the Barbarian Stadium. Please go ahead, Lai.
Yes. For me, what I want to add for what Philip said was, I know a lot of people will say, like previous years that Black Stars have been playing on those pitches, they've been getting results and all that. One thing we should know, that football is revolving. Football is changing. The way we play football or we approach football, let's say 10, 15 years, 20 years ago, it has changed. Thank you. It has changed. The way we play for normally previous years you can launch long balls and it's a game plan and you can get results out of it. Now teams have advanced and they are well organized, they are smart. Coaches have advanced, they are smart. When you're kicking long balls, it's bingo to them. So people might say that we've been getting results previously on the same pitches. But one thing we should know is a different style of play and all that. Now football has changed. Every game has to be on the ground. Every ball that you get, the more you put the ball on the ground, more advantageous you have. You can see the goal we conceded in the last minute from Angola. Ball was on the ground. They put the ball in the wide area. They sat back, stopped pressure. They lost the ball. Ghana lost the ball. They picked the ball and then did a little bit of good offensive transition. And the ball went wide, whip it inside, and the ball was on the ground. And that was what happened. That was the mistake. If the pitch is very good, I think Moomin will still be on his feet and will have a clear opportunity of clearing the ball. So for me, I know people will say that previously we play on the same pitch and we're getting results. One thing I want them to know or understand that football has changed. It has changed. We want to play the ball on the ground and we want fast pitches. The players that played in that game, they played last weekend. Look at Kudus against Man City. Amazing, fantastic result. Even though they lost, fantastic result. He got the ball and then he made that huge run to have a finish and then hit the woodwork. Fantastic performance. Look at Semenyo. Look at his performance. His team was losing, and you can see the intensity and the urgency of the ball moving on the pitch. You understand me? But when they come here, because of the pitch, they struggle. It's reality. We have to understand that it's modern football. Modern football, you need a better pitch. That's why teams in Europe, like Kojo mentioned earlier, that, or I think, Nat, you mentioned it, that Liverpool wanted to renovate their stadium to meet the standard of FIFA. The stadium that they were using before, the pitch that they were using before, it's not that the pitch is not good, but FIFA is always adding something up to make the game more beautiful, more interesting for the fans. So all the time they upgrade things, they put in more measures to improve the standard of the pitches. So clubs have to also adapt. You can see Liverpool Stadium, if we have it in the pitch of Liverpool, if we have it in Ghana, we'll enjoy it. But you can see that they also want to improve because they've seen that the football is changing, so they have to meet up to what FIFA is expecting. So I think our leaders have to understand that and make sure they do the right thing. Look, I've been there. I was a former under-17 coach, and I had the same problems with our pitches. You know the way I want my team to play? I want my team to play fast. I took the same team to Europe, and we had fantastic game because of the way I want to play, because the pitch favors them. In the Wafo Zombie under-17s, my team struggled to move the ball on that pitch. But sometimes I don't want to put blame on the pitch and all that. But trust me, if the pitch is much better, or meet the standard that or the way I want my team to play, it would have been different ball game. Even the difficult pitch, still the boys manage to move the ball on the pitch. If you have better pitch, trust me, Ghana will have a better game to enjoy. So for me, I think it's we have to leave the reality now and leave previous days. This is what we were playing on and we were doing well.
Okay, Kojo, let's now look at what you feel we should do as a matter of a final measure so that we don't come back to this conversation. Because I'm sorry to say this, because from where I sit, I won't be surprised if next year by now we'll be having similar conversations. And considering as well that we're in the midst of a series wanting to qualify for the next World Cup that will be hosted by Canada, Mexico, and the USA.
Yeah, so Nat, for starters, let me say CAF has done us no favors, and I think that CAF giving us this since the Nigerian World Cup qualifier, the World Cup qualifier against Nigeria, when they gave us the temporary approval, I think they have done us more disservice than anything else. And as a country, we have gone to sleep and have assumed that we can continue to use our very good relationship with CAF to be getting these approvals. And then when we get the approval, we go to bed. Now they've shut down Baba Yara. I wonder what they are going to even do that within that period. It is going to affect my beloved Kotoko anyway. But let me put that aside. So what do we do? Two major things. And Philip alluded to one of it. The experts are there. We need to consult them and we need to utilize their services. And we also need to commit resources to the project. Look, what is the point in being prepared to spend all this money to fly the players down, to pay their bonuses, to pay whatever is required per DMs, and not be ready to commit the resources required to ensure that they come and play on, if it can't even be the same facility they just played on 3 days before, something close to, which Philip alluded to. He said, at least let us get close to it. So the experts are there. If we don't have them here, let's not pretend we do. Even if we had somebody who knew how to do it 10 years ago, times have changed. The technology has moved on. If we don't have the persons available, let's get to CAF and let them give us people who know what to do and who know the kind of quality that needs to be. It was Tony Bafu who actually taught me that there were different types of grass for different types of weather. Look, in Germany, they change the grass depending on the weather. They can even change the grass for one game. They plant it off site and come and lay. Laie is more experienced there, and they come and lay. Tony taught me that. So we can't be continuing to do this planting here, planting there, and competing with weeds, and competing with termites, and competing with all sorts of things. It's high time we got value for money and consulted the right people. Look, you were asking, what is it at the stadium that we don't meet? I've seen that the CAF stadium regulations document. I've seen it. Page 21 talks about the referees area. I doubt if we are meeting the referees area. Maybe you've forgotten. A referee came to Accra to officiate the game and said there was no hot water. That hot water requirement is actually stipulated in the CAF stadium regulations. It's there in black and white. There should be both cold and hot water. We take it for granted. Our washrooms are not up to standard. None of our stadia meets the safe zone requirement, where the team should be able to arrive at the stadium, get down from the bus, get into the dressing room without being seen by any fan. Which of our stadia today meets that criteria? Our floodlight intensity. We have a floodlight, but the intensity requirement has changed. We have not, I don't know who we consult, but even me, the layman reading the thing, I can tell that our floodlight intensity is not up to the requirement. The media center, Nat, you know it. You've been abroad to several media centers. Can you tell me that the Kumasi Media Center is anywhere close to what you have worked in? Can you really, really tell me that? Doping center, there are so many things that we need to commit the right resources to and consult the right persons. Let's not shut down Baba Yara, go and call somebody who doesn't have a clue what the requirement is and just knock some mortar down and rebuild some mortar and says, I've renovated Baba Yara, it's ready for play. It can't work that way. We better also up our game. Otherwise, I'll be surprised if our next home game is played in Ghana.
Well, interesting thoughts there. I'll be getting to our comments very shortly, and then I'll be picking some thoughts as well about the behavior of our fans so that we can quickly look at the game that was played on Thursday and look ahead to Tuesday in the qualifiers. But it's interesting that Kojo Adai-Mensah has brought up the issue of the CAF stadium regulations document. I've got it right here. And obviously, it's a bit of a voluminous document if we have to go through all of it. But I'm going to keep some very key points here. Now, it's got 5 chapters, okay? The document has 5 chapters, which has sub-articles. Now, the first chapter is on general regulations, which covers the scope of the application, the connection with competition regulations, roles and responsibilities, the CAF stadium inspections, and the type of stadium approval by CAF, and stadium categorization. And all these are sub-chapters under Chapter 1, which is general, provisions. And then you come to Chapter 2, which is requirements. And the Section 1 of Chapter 2 talks about pitch and surrounding areas, which is our biggest area of interest for this first part of the conversation here on the Joy Sports Link. So it talks about the field of play, and it says as per IFAB laws of the game, and the warm-up area as well, the goal area, the spare goals, and corner flags. There is team substitutes, there's match officials' benches, there's the player tunnel, something that has been talked about here. There are flagpoles, floodlighting, and power supply. Also, there's Section 2, which talks about teams, referees, and CAF officials. Under it, there are subsections, or sub-articles. Now, there's teams and dressing rooms, there's referees' dressing rooms, storage facilities, ball boys, flag bearers' rooms, there's CAF offices, there's the meeting rooms, and there are parking areas as well. And then Section 3 talks about medical-related areas. Under it as well, we've got 2 sub-articles which capture first aid and treatment facilities for players and officials. And then there's the doping control room, which Kojo Adai-Mensah has spoken about. Then you come to Chapter 3, which is match day monitoring and sanctions. So there's match day monitoring, there are sanctions, and then there's the grid for stadium sanctions. And then Chapter 5 captures spectators and spectator attendance in CAF competitions. And then in Chapter 5, which is the final one, there's closing provisions, and there are non-compliance, annexes, implementation, authoritative version, decisions, amendments, force majeure, and matters not provided for, and the role of the CAF General Secretariat, as well as enforcement. So there are loads and loads of provisions in this document for CAF, the CAF stadium regulations, and this is the 2022. The most recent document, which is the CAF Stadium Regulations document. So clearly, there are loads and loads of things. And now, when you go through this, you realize where we're falling short so much. Yeah. Let's just quickly touch on the issue of the fans and how they worsen the case by vandalizing property at the stadium. I mean, we've been told that the Ghana Police Service has made some arrests in connection with what was done here. And for those of you who are following the show on YouTube, you can see the pitch. There's an image of all sorts of, broken glass and some vandalized property, advertising boards lying upside down and all of that, missiles pelted onto the pitch after the game. And this is where we are. Our fans as well cannot take defeat. And we ask ourselves, how would we take this if we go to another country and the fans behave this way towards us? I immediately want to refer to the qualifier, the return leg of the game that Kojo Adai-Mensah spoke about, which is Ghana-Nigeria. Mm-hmm. And when that game was played, the Nigerian fans also got angry and they started pelting missiles.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always not the best to, get these kind of feedback or response from the fans. Obviously, it's going to cost the nation lots of money to, fix all these things. But then for me, the downside or the biggest losers of their action is Kumasi Asante Kotoko, who play, at the Kumasi Sports Stadium. Originally, season starts on over the weekend. Luckily for them, they're playing at Karela. But after that, I'm sure they probably have a home game. And now they get to, maybe play home away from home. And there are so many, instances of previous seasons whereby Kumasi Asante Kotoko have struggled, when they've moved away from the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. So this is a very unfortunate incident. It's one that is, is not encouraged at all. And it's very unfortunate that, we have to, deal with this at this point in time.
Interesting stuff there. Well, let me get on our platforms. Let's get some responses for what we got after the game. Now, there are some that are reacting to the result, and then there are those who are also, on this subject that we are discussing. Now, Kwame Danso says, we have been mediocre from day one, and we get excited for no reason. These politicians should do something small for us. We get excited. The stadia and the pitches are not on point. And then Kwesi Gayina says, so sad. Kofi Darko says, resetting is a must. And then Christopher Dazi says, it's appalling. Cyril Bona says, it is disgraceful. Now, Elliot Kujo sends this one. He says, always blaming everyone except ourselves. So didn't we know that we don't have a standard pitch for the players that when they made an appeal about it? Now, our concentration cost us. So let's stop this issue about the pitch. If government is to do right now, you are the same people who condemn government, that it is not a priority. Okay, he's also brought a very interesting twist to the conversation. Thank you very much, Elliot, for this one. Kennedy Nimako says, oh, Mother Ghana. And so these are these ones. But this one by Elliot Kujo. So there is the other one. Let me come back to you, gentlemen. Kojo, before the construction of the Boteman Sports Complex for the African Games, there are those who had all sorts of issues because of the capital injection, considering, how our economy is looking like right now, how inflation is very high, cost of living is gone, shot up, and all of that. You are in the financial sector. Ghanaians complained about how much we were investing in the games. And now, after making all of these investments, we come back and we're told that what we have done is not even up to the standard.
You see, this is why I always say that when we are putting in the resources to put up these facilities, we should consult the right people. In fact, I have asked for the business plan document that went into the Boteman construction. Because when you listen to the powers that be, some will say we're going to turn it into an university, we're going to turn it into a sports college. But I know that to set up a university here in Ghana, you need to go through certain serious processes. It feels like it was an afterthought. This University of Sports thing was an afterthought. If it wasn't, right from construction, the LI would be laid in Parliament and all those processes will be going through, so that as soon as the games are finished, we have the legal backing to start utilizing the facility. But right now, it's there. Nobody's taking a look at it. God knows what is being done over there. So we seem to do things without proper thought and planning. Oh, we can host Africa Games. Yes, what do we do? Oh, we need a multi-purpose stadium. Okay, then let's do it. Then we start. But what use are we going to put that facility to? I don't think we have. Look, Wembley has a business plan with financial projections. Does Boteman have it? I will be impressed to take a look at what 5-year plan they had around the use of the Boteman facility to generate funds, or if it is not even to generate funds, to have it maintained to the international standard required. Look, in 2024, we've hosted the Africa Games with those facilities. I won't be surprised if 4 years' time, we go back to the Africa Games community to try and say we are bidding to host another games, for them to tell us that technology has moved on, things have moved on, but we are still where we were 4 years prior, and that our facility doesn't meet the standards. We need to be very deliberate about how we put up facilities and what we do with the facilities we put up, what plans there are around it in terms of utilization, in terms of maintenance, and in terms of generating funds. Without that, then yes, those who are saying we're just wasting money will have a case to make. But I disagree with those who say that, because in my view, sports can employ as many people as any other sector of the economy can. And when sports is doing well, even the tensions in society come down.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
Exactly. Football and sports is the only place where you see one person on one political divide embracing the other without even thinking for a moment. When Laie Kingston cross goes in and Appiah heads the ball in, they will jump together and embrace each other, forgetting that they were insulting each other on the political platform just the other day. So investing in sports can transform a whole country. It is what keeps Brazil going. Look, Brazil is not a great country, but their football keeps that society together. And so imagine one hockey team, how many people one hockey team employs, how many people one volley team employs, how many people one football team employs. And when we are doing well, what it will do for the nation. So I don't think it's a waste of money, but it is how we utilize the facility that I don't think we think about thoroughly enough.
Well, keep the messages coming. This is definitely one that we need to address. Let's come to you, Laie, and talk about the behavior of the fans. You have been in various situations, especially outside the Ghanaian terrain, where you've met hostile fans and those who try to get violent because the result is not going in the favor of the team. Fortunately, it doesn't look like it has gone down. Laie?
Yeah, yes, Nat. For me, I've experienced such, let's say, behavior in a lot of countries that I've played in. I know fans, we call them ultras. For them, they support their team with all their heart. And for me, one disappointing thing about the Kumasi fans is we, the players, when I was a player, we felt yesterday, on Thursday, I was a bit disappointed. And for me, I believe maybe the thing went to them too much. I believe they can be a very positive losers, because football, you can win some, you can draw some, you can lose some as well. But I was disappointed to see them doing that. But what they did yesterday, I've seen worse things than that. I've seen teams, I've seen spectators behave very harsh than what they did. But I wasn't expecting that at all, because for me, the experience I've had in Kumasi in my playing days, sometimes we go into games that the game did not go well for us. They are patient. So I expect much better from them. And I don't think it's good for the country, or for football in the country, because Nat, you made mention about May 9th. I think it's something that we have to learn from that, because what if the police have not learned from what happened in May 9th and they approach the situation the same way they did in May 9th? I think it's going to be something else. So I'm sorry to see that, but for me, I think next time they should learn from it and then make sure. Because one thing they should know, the chairs and things that they are breaking, the next weekend, like Felix said, the next weekend, most of them are Kotoko fans. They will come in there and the chair will not be there anymore. Where are they going to sit? You know, and I'm happy that the police have taken it very seriously, and whoever is in charge, whoever they see misbehaving, they should put him in order. So for me, that's the one thing I would say. I'm very disappointed to see Kumasi fans, because I'm not expecting them to do that at all. We know in Europe we have fans that they are crazy. They can curse They can do so many things, but that's why the security is tight in Europe. You can see now that even the security, they don't even watch the game. They keep their eye on the fans. If one fan misbehaves, they will spot him and go and pick him up. With that, it brings order to the spectators. So for me, I think in future we can learn from it, and then we don't see those things happening again. It's football. It's competition. Sometimes you can win some, you can draw some. You can't be happy all the time. Sometimes you can play well and still lose a game. You can play bad and win a game. For me, I believe that game, and the Angolans were even pushing the time to go, and then they were lucky to have that last-minute goal. So it can also happen to the Angolans in their home. So I believe we should always support our own and make sure we don't repeat those things again.
All right, now talk about Kumasi fans. I also want to look at the positive sides and how we'd want to see the repeat of these ones. And I'm glad Lai is on the show today. I want to throw back to, I mean, about a decade ago when Lai was on his final leg of his career playing for Accra Hearts of Oak. And guess what? He was playing in Kumasi Babayara Stadium. It was the Super Clash, Kumasi Asante Kotoko versus Accra Hearts of Oak. And when Lai came out to do his warm-up,
right,
he did a 360. And boy, oh boy, the Kotoko fans went on their feet.
Wow.
And you remember that day, Lai? I mean, goosebumps fell on my skin.
Wow.
Lai Kingston, a player of Accra Hearts of Oak, went round and was just, swelling up the fans. Hey, come on, guys, come on, guys. And it was such a beautiful day. I'd want us to get into the archives and bring that video so people can see the quality of sportsmanship that has existed at the Babayara Stadium and why we should be celebrating these and encouraging that kind of behavior rather than, do the opposite and worsen the situation, Philip.
Right, because, I mean, for guys like Lai, I mean, he's obviously a national hero. He served the nation great, and, I mean, wherever he goes, he gets a lot of love. So, I mean, it's no surprise that he was able to, garner that much attention and, love from the crowd. But then, you bring it down in this era or this generation, and we don't have, players of his caliber. I mean, the last person to really do that came back to play was Sule, Sule Muntari for Hearts of Oak a couple of seasons ago. I mean, and ideally, it would be great to have, national heroes when they are, pretty much winding down on their careers, just calm down and then, compete in the local league, also revive, and then as the slogan of the FA is bring back the love, because these guys, play their hearts out for Ghana, and every now and then you get people compare the current generation to Lai's generation, and basically say that guys like Lai and Stephen and Essien, when they played, you would see and you could feel the patriotism and then the love that they have for the nation. And it was very obvious. But it's a bit on the downside with the current generation. So, I mean, basically just have all these guys, Andre, if it looks like you're trying to wind down, it would be great to have, the day are you compete in Ghana when it's time for him, or Jordan or Thomas or all these other guys. Come back. Let's, revive our local league and then, get it going again. Because we need those kind of, big images in our league.
All right, so we've got, we're going to talk about the Premier League, and I'm glad you've brought that angle as well. But let me just visit some of the comments that came after the results that was recorded, in the game. Different reactions after Ghana lost to Angola. I'm saying this because we want to place it within the context of reorganizing the Black Stars and getting them ready for that game that'll be played against Niger. Ghana is sitting in 3rd place now in Group F, and that will mean that reorganization is very important to get a good result in Niger. So this is what came when the game was lost. So Elliot Kujo says, don't give up, work hard, and this was a bitter lesson from this game, but keep it going. And Kofi Afa says, we're not even going to do anything if we qualify. Now, and then Paki Mensah says, fix the pitch. And then Taidi Sayugo. Okay, I hope I pronounced the name properly. Bad pitch. Your own pitch, and a visitor comes to humble you and you blame the pitch. This is a disgrace. Kwejo Mari says, how do we even expect the national team to play on this pitch? Well, and then another one from Wilson Kofi Mensah Tito says, Jordan should voluntarily give up. Isahaku Alidu Seidu must be distanced from the teams. And the comedians like Langabel and Ijako and the likes shouldn't be allowed around the team. And then Van der Rey says, Atizigi one-goal project. Why are Ghanaian football lovers crying and worried? Now, Kwame Mponsa says, we overhype our players too much. We have the names, but on the field of play, we're just an average team. The likes of Central African Republic, Comoros, Madagascar, and such teams are better than us on the field of play. Andrea Siao says this one, which is a bit of a diversion from what we've brought you so far. Now, this is his message. For the first time in a long while, I was impressed with the Black Stars' possession and passes. We didn't play terribly like we used to play some months ago. The pitch was a disservice to the players. It was an injury trap, and I wouldn't blame any of the players except to say that the coach needs to make some changes on time. This one. This is from Kwabena Dakwa. It says, this will make the team sit up. A slap in the face can wake you up against the opponent you are facing. This is a wake-up call. Now, Kennedy Demako says, our guys were a bit too comfortable and there was a bad pitch. Okay. Willie Daku says, it is football. Sidiki Watara says, the players did well, but the rice field disappointed us. Moses Okiti says, well, just so sad, the entire team was horrible. These are very thoughts that will come from the fans on a regular day when the games are played. So we need to put it in context. As we already know, Group F, we're sitting in third place. Coach Otuado has encouraged everybody and says, look, we will reorganize. We still are within a good space to qualify. But now, how do we reorganize with what we saw in that game as we go and play away? Let me go back and begin from Kojo Adaimensa. Kojo, what do you want to see, going up against Niger, in that game that we're playing on Monday?
Look, Nat, that game is a make or break. It's a must-win game, and not just a win. Look, I can't, if anything less than 3 goals will not convince Ghanaians, will not bring Ghanaians back to where at least we were just before the Angola game. If we go beating Niger 1-0, just like how Sudan beat them 1-0. I mean, with all due respect, I know no team is easy these days, but it has to be emphatic. The win has to be emphatic for people to then start accepting that the pitch indeed was a factor. I don't use the pitch as a total excuse, but we cannot discount it. No way. I mean, in fact, Bralaya has even made it more poignant that, look, you prepare your team to play a certain way, and then unfortunately you get there and the ball can't even move as crisp as it is. He made another fantastic point that back in the day, we could balloon balls. Those days, when the goalkeeper is, in fact, goalkeepers, we've moved from the number 5 is taking the goal kick to the goalkeeper taking the goal kick to now they are playing from the back. It should tell you how the game has progressed. So in Niger, nothing short of an emphatic win. It has to be a walloping. That is what will now totally remove the pitch issue and then get Ghanaians to believe again. By the way, you say we are third. We are third only because of alphabetical order. We and Niger, the value is the same. We all played 1, conceded 1, lost 1. So I think we are just third.
All right.
We are just third on the back of alphabetical order.
Very well. Before we come to you, Lai, let's look at you, Philip, what you think before we go on to the issue of the Ghana Premier League in the start. What do we do?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that he has said. I mean, I think after the game ended, I went on X just trying to, look at comments and all these things. And for the first time, I saw that nobody was really, bashing the players, and everyone was actually complaining about how bad the pitch was. So just like he's saying, I mean, the only thing that would, sort of vindicate what or how we're all feeling is an emphatic win. Go out there, execute, play like how you're supposed to play, move the ball, play with some sense of urgency. Let's see the intensity because they get to play on a much better field. So it will be great to see them bounce back and then, put their qualification back on track.
Interesting stuff there. Let's go to you, Coach Laye Kingston. What do you want to see us switch up? I've had loads and loads of fans talk about how we didn't do, or how Coach Attoh didn't do early enough substitutions. And talk about substitutions. One coach in our Black Stars history over the last decade and a half who's been very strategic with that is Coach Milovan Rajvac, if you remember. I mean, he has been more used to and more effective with making impact subs and all of that.
Right.
Laye, from your very technical perspective, what do we do to ensure that kind of result that Kojo Addae-Mensah is describing for the next game, to restore confidence in the fans as well?
Yes, for me, I think that game against Niger is a must-win for Otto Addo and the players to have Ghanaians backing them again, or bring back the confidence again. They have to go out there and then win. But you see, every coach, anytime you go into a game, you should have a game plan. You should have a game plan going into the game. And for me, I think against Niger shouldn't be anything different because Otto Addo himself and his technical team knows how to approach that game. You should have a game plan, plan A. If it doesn't work, then you bring on the plan B. Sometimes it can change, or sometimes your instincts on the touchlines can tell you have to do this, and it will work eventually, So for me, looking at the previous game that they play against Angola, I always watch the Ghana team play since Otto Addo came, and they always perform well in the second half. And which for me, I think I have issues with that. For me, I think going into that game, they need to start the game well and always take the game to the opponent. I keep saying that, take the game to your opponent. Maybe it could be that, maybe that's what I believe in, And I want to see them putting pressure on the team, on the opponent as soon as possible. At the moment they lose the ball, they should make sure they press high and then win the ball as soon as possible and keep them in their half, in the Nigerians' half. For me, I think when we do that, we're going to dominate play and then get results out of it, because we have what it takes to punish every team in the world. Because the kind of players that we have, Semenyo playing regular in his team, and you see how powerful he is. He's very fast. Iñaki Williams doing well. We have Jordan Ayew, that when it comes to scoring goals, he can score goals. Kudus Mohamed. So I don't see the reason why when we are off the ball, we should sit back and wait for the opponent to go on the ball and then for the opponent to move the ball. The same intensity that they use in their clubs, when they come to the team, we should see that. We should make sure we play as fast as we can. Hopefully we'll go the away game against Niger, and then we'll have a better pitch than what we have in Ghana. And for me, I think we don't have a bad team at all. We have good players in the team, but just that the approach to the game should be a little bit different. The intensity should be a little bit high, and then make sure we put more numbers in the opponent's half. And then one key thing against the last 10-15 minutes against Angola, you can see we played most of the game in the opponent's half. And once before their goal came, once a while they get to play out, and then there is transition for us to have recovery rounds to go and defend our box. I think when we go into the opponent box, we need to have a solid attacking balance that we can counter-press and win the ball back as soon as possible. Which for me, I think Partey have been doing it very well in Arsenal. We should have a solid attacking balance, not all the midfielders running into the box or running passing the front three or the attackers. We should have a solid attacking balance. The fullbacks should come in, joining one midfielder to have a solid attacking balance that can counter-press when the attackers lose the ball in the opponent box or around the opponent box. We have players that can counter-press and win the ball. If we don't do that, and like Angola, we lost the ball high, and then they just play one pass and break 6, 7 players, and then they have to do recovery runs to come and defend our box. For me, I think it's something that we have to look at. And if we do that well, take the game to them, I think we can get good results against Niger.
Wow, interesting stuff there. Interesting stuff there. Philip, you saw the game. You saw our areas. I'm particularly worried about the vulnerability at the back, and this is something that has characterized this new look Black Stars. And I mean, you want to, once again, like you've referred to already, would want to refer to that era where you had a Paintil, you had you had a John Mensah, you had all those other names at the back who you could be very confident in.
Right.
What do we do, especially when it comes to being very resolute at the back? Because it is through Coach Laie Kingston and his exploits at Right to Dream Academy that I, for instance, learned about building the new trend at the time, which was about 7-8 years ago, about building up from the back.
Right.
Which is now something that many national teams have perfected. You look at what Morocco did at the last World Cup, for instance, building up very confidently from the back. But here we are, we're not that confident at the back and we're weak. And at this time, we don't need to be conceding.
Yeah, and I think we've just been a bit unfortunate, not having a regular starting, backline for a couple games. Every now and then, I mean, unfortunately, we don't have Jiku for this international window. Yeah. I think the previous ones, we didn't have Salisu. A couple ones, we didn't have Tariq. There's some...
Tariq also had been plagued by injury at the point.
So it's just, difficult getting a certain level of consistency from our backline as against maybe our midfield or our forward, where we're pretty much spoiled for choices. But it's always, a struggle. And I mean, from Thursday's game, we had, a right foot player, playing left back. And there's this sudden recall for Baba Rahman, and Gideon has been out for this window as well. So it's just, having players missing out makes it difficult for, the coach and the team in general, because we lack a certain level of consistency with our backline. And in that, when these things happen, then there needs to be a little bit more communication, especially from the goalkeeper, trying to organize, the backline. The leaders in the defense, especially guys like Salisu, who are more experienced, out of the entire backline, he needs to be more vocal. And we need guys like Partey also chip in and then, pretty much orchestrate the entire, defense, being in sync with everybody else. And I'm sure, having that kind of good communication will be, the trick to get us through this Algeria, battle.
Great stuff there. Still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Today, we've been looking very extensively at the Black Stars, what that game has brought us in terms of the conversations and how we need to reposition for, another leg of qualifiers. That game will be played against Niger on Monday away. Would be switching now the attention, Tuesday, I beg your pardon. Would now want to switch the attention to the Ghana Premier League now, following the Congress that was held, last week, a couple of days ago. Yeah. We have ushered in the new season, and this is by the regulations of the Ghana Football Association, which requires that the announcement of the date or the start date of the new league season be done at that Congress. That has been fulfilled, and we're ready to get the game going. But ahead of that, there are loads of issues to discuss. For instance, one of them being the fact that our defending league champions, Samatex, are getting further and further into competition in the CAF Champions League qualifying stages to hopefully get themselves into the group stage. And those are all conversations we need to have. Let's begin from you. Before I come to you, Philip, and then before we go around the table, let's take a listen to the fans and what they're expecting ahead of the start of the season. The team reached out to some fans out there, and they've been expressing their thoughts and what they expect of the coming season in the Ghana Premier League.
We expect that they will make it attractive so that we can also come to the stadium and then support the teams. Because me sitting here, there's nothing interesting about the Ghana Premier League that will move me to come to the stadium. Yeah.
The Ghana Premier League will be starting on Saturday. But actually, the Blaster match take the fever out of it. But we are trying our best to see how best things will go on.
So for me, my opinion on the Premier League is that over the years, we've struggled with actually promoting it. Like the way we promoted a match like this, see the attendance and the turnout. But for the Ghana Premier League, for some time now, we've not had that attendance. And for my team, Attoh, I'm happy with the recruitment we've done so far. We brought in some good players. The coach have assured us that this season is going to be our season. So no matter the talent that Kotoko has brought on board, I feel like Attoh days are here, and then we're going to do something great this season. Phobia.
Ghana Premier League have started on. I'm paying for you. Now, league, but I feel league by the pa. Ebeyam. Tutu no Kotoko. Fantastic because players are tono. New players Ketua. The top players from Monane. It's a game everybody is saying paying for say. Omunchana referee for no. Omunka must and Pani Robbie Baby Yana Dawson.
For me, I don't watch Ghana Premier League because I don't think it's nice or it's very good to watch because you won't get anything. For me, the Premier League is supposed to be reorganized and see to it that the coaches are good, the players too are good, and the money they are paid should be good.
New season, me hope say Kotoko Beji League, as usual. I say the Kotoko Fontino. The bumpire say Kotoko Beji League, but league, yes, or more organized league, say or more making sure say league na fair, I attractive. Am I yes we me backpack never be.
Okay, what we are expecting is that we need more improvement in our local Premier League. Yeah, so we are expecting for a good different things for this new season.
We expect that they will make it.
All right. Thank you so much to the production team for bringing us that one. So, varied thoughts from the fans, from those who still do not want to watch, domestic football, to those who, are very confident because of recruitment that has been done. So let's take it one at a go. Let me begin from Kojo Adaimensa. We're seeing a lot of this from his eyes because he represents the fan who goes to the stadium religiously to watch, irrespective. And he is one of a different kind who always wants to be there, even when things are tough. Kojo, let's take a look at what you are projecting for the upcoming season. You've heard some of the Kotoko fans who are very confident that this is the season for them again. And the thing as well about second stints, Dr. Prosper Nathaniel has done it before, but these second stints and all,
Are you trying to talk about Tuado too? Well, on the Premier League, the Ghana Premier League proper, I still think that most likely Samatex will still be the team to beat. I know I'm Kotoko through and through, but I've followed our preseason. I have not been overly impressed. I mean, our last game was against Mediema. Philip may be very happy, and they beat us. More importantly for me, for the Ghana Premier League, there's no media sponsor or broadcaster, right? So with that, how do we promote the league? How do we get people to follow the league? But it's not like the 80s. Today, on our phones, we are watching EPL, we are watching Spanish La Liga, we are watching on our phones. Those days, we used to live in Adabraka, Asylum, Down, Osu, and walk to the Accra Sports Stadium. All those places have become offices. I mean, what will it take for somebody to leave Kaswa to come to the Accra Sports Stadium to watch a 3 o'clock game and then end at 5 and having to sit in 3 hours of traffic, then wake up the next morning to sit in another 2 hours of traffic to come to work? So the dynamics have changed. And we need to really, really think hard about it. Look, if I were the FA, I didn't get a media sponsor, no problem. Look, make radio commentary like anybody who can give radio commentary, allow the radio commentary to go. That's how you start getting people to follow. And if even it means giving it for free to one TV station or two TV stations, some arrangement, because you are not getting anything anyway, and then you are not getting the publicity either. So you might as well just give it out for free and get some publicity around the Premier League. Because honestly speaking, the publicity is extremely low. How many people really, one of the people your team interviewed said the Thursday game even took the shine of the Premier League even more. And we have a game on Monday. Everybody is focusing on the Ghana-Niger. How many people know that we are going to have games, to be played on Saturday and Sunday? And we've spent a lot of time on this program talking about pitches and stadium. In my book, only probably 6 stadia in this country qualify to host a Ghana Premier League game. But yet still, we will still use the same relationships that we've used with CAF. We will do it same and approve certain venues that are really not supposed to be approved. And then we'll still get substandard football. I'm told that Dreams have moved from Daewoo, thank God, and they're in Accra. Even Accra, do you know that Yapreku complained bitterly about the Accra field? I don't know how many of you heard. He complained bitterly when Nswatreman played there, and he even hoped that when he goes away, you get a better pitch to play the game he wants to play. Something Layetu is talking about. So my worry for the Ghana Premier League is really about its publicity. And, those of us who follow it, we are following it. It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. I even can't mention many of the players' names, but I still follow, but from what I've observed, I still think that Samatex will be the team to beat. Kotoko are starting away in Karela. Karela, we haven't beaten them since 2020. They are a very difficult side for Kotoko for some strange reason. Kotoko is not able to beat them. I think Hearts are hosting Basike. Hearts always beat new entrants, so I'm expecting that they will have a good game there. We need to find a way to whip up the support and the following. I'm advising the FA, make radio commentary open to anybody who wants to go and give radio commentary on their platform so that the exposure is there. Restrict the TV, give it to 3 stations or something like that, and let them pick it, and let other stations then pick from those stations. Because people have the TV, they'll sit at home and watch. And so that will be my take on the Ghana Premier League. But the pitches that they are going to play on, the club licensing people will tell you that when they go and inspect, it's passable. 3-4 games later, with no rains, the whole pitch cracks up. There are potholes. Then they are rolling over their ankles. There's no proper medical care. It's a whole lot that we need to really think through carefully and deal with.
Well, interesting thoughts there. We're going to be getting into the fixtures very shortly, but Kojo has spoken about what his concerns are. We don't have a headline sponsor, and it looks like we're going topsy-turvy. One season there's one, the other season there is one. Dr. Randiabe, who's an executive council member, made a few revelations the other day about conversations that are going on in the background and how some obligations have to be met from our previous, broadcast right holders, which is Star Times, and all of these conversations have to go on. Things have to be ironed out before we get on, or even before there's anything like a renewal or a new contract. But beyond all of that, what will be your concern or your areas of interest from where you sit at the PFAG?
I mean, players getting paid, because it's always an issue. I mean, as he said, there is no headline sponsor. So basically means there's less money coming in for the clubs to run, run and play the league. And for these clubs...
And before you go on, Philip, the political class have waded into the conversation, obviously because we're in a political peak season and they have their policy documents. And last weekend, the 2 major parties were talking about how they want to resource the Ghana Premier League.
Right.
So, I mean, hopefully from January onwards, we'd see a policy that would have government make an input, just like we see in Nigeria.
I mean, hopefully, but it's always an issue of sustainability. How are we going to sustain it? Where is the money going to come from? You know, because for me, I'd rather you know, teach them how to fish than you give them fish. So how about we create the opportunity for them to thrive? You know, provide them better pitches. If the pitches are good, it means that the quality of play is good. They can sell players. I mean, back in the day, we have Brekum Chelsea sell guys like Clote for $1 million. That's a lot of money. And imagine if a club is able to sell a player for $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. That means that there's money coming back into the system, and these clubs are able to, you know, self-finance and then sustain their clubs. But in this generation, we have clubs selling players 50,000, 100,000, you know, USD. Compared to, you know, that era, it's peanuts pretty much. And so these clubs are struggling, the players are struggling. Last season, we had the issue of, you know, RTU not being paid for 5 months, players, you know.
Impersonating, you know.
And it's just messy, and it's not a good image for the league as a whole. And for us as a union, these are some of the things that we're basically looking out for. Trying to get the players, you know, much more involved with the union, get them to report to us when they are not paid, so that we can then follow up and then try and see how best we can get all those issues resolved for them.
Well, let's come to you, Laye Kingston. You have played in the Ghana Premier League and now have also contributed to it. I mean, you played, you left, you came and served the national teams, and then you came back before your retirement from active play. What areas would you be looking at from your end?
Yes, for me, it's sad to see fans saying that Ghana Premier League is starting and they have no interest of watching it at all. You know, back in our days, a Premier League player is already a superstar. You know, now most of the Premier League players, even top players that they are doing well in the league, they work in town that no one even pay attention to them. You know, and it's sad that you don't see, someone would say, okay, they don't have any player to go in there and then watch. But for me, from where I'm sitting, now football has changed. We don't have prima donna in football clubs anymore. It's all about teamwork. If the team is playing attractive football, fans will go in and watch. And trust me, I have something that I believe in. If your team is performing well, results will come. If you can play well and lose a match, but how many times can you play well and lose a match? The moment your team is doing well, as a technical person, your team is doing well, definitely you have confidence that at the end of the 90 minutes, you take something out. So it's all about performance. How can the team perform well? Now, the clubs should make sure they hire a right technical person. Not that, oh, I'm friends with this coach. Or some coaches, excuse me to say, some coaches will go and lobby for the job, and then the job will be given to them. Not the club owners assessing the coach that is capable of doing the job. But because he's my friend, because I can control him, I'll give him that job so that I'll still have influence. Hire him, but still have influence in directing him what to do on the pitch. Meanwhile, he doesn't even come to training to come and watch. So these are some of the things that if we put it in place, hire a very good coach that you know that he know how to do the job, not to favor him because he's my friend, not to bring him in because I can control him, because I can tell him what to do. I think with that, we can have quality in our league. For me, I know when I was given the national under-17 coach, I went all over the regions. For the first time, I traveled all over the regions. Previously, players have to come to Pram. I said, no, I have to go to the regions. I went there for a reason, because I want to see the broader picture in what is happening in other regions. And to be honest, I saw top talent players, good quality players in all the regions. Every region I went, the quality is good. The quality is good that you can educate them. And for our league, our senior league, teams to be better. You understand me? So the club owners should be able to hire the right people that they know that they believe that they can do their job, not to do favor that, oh, he's my friend, I can control him, so let me give him that job to go and do it. At the end of the day, I'm going to pay, sorry to say, I'm going to pay, in quote, I'm going to pay the referee to get results for myself, or a team is going to relegation. Then someone has to say, okay, let me give it to him. Last season, he helped me. I think it's criminal. It's not fair. It's not fair. For me, all those things should be wiped out. And also, one thing that Philip mentioned about making sure that players are being paid. It's not only players being paid. The players have to be paid well. Players have to be paid well. And I understand that sometimes most of the club owners, they don't have the finance to last for the whole season. But when you go to other countries, you go to Europe, if you've registered, let's say 30, 40 players, and you know that these 40, 30 players, this is their salary by the end of the season. This is their salary. The FA have to see that the club have this kind of amount. If, let's say, the whole season, your salary is 1 million Ghana cedis. The FA has to make sure you, the club owner, have that 1 million sitting in the bank. So that next month, you won't tell the player that, oh, his salary is not ready, the following month. The player will come on the pitch and he will not be happy. The player will come on the pitch and he will not be happy. So for me, the FA have to make sure if you are going to be allowed to run the club, you should have that kind of money sitting in the bank. That's why clubs in Europe, if you can't meet that criteria, you have players, they can call players, okay, go for loan or get a salary cut. Or if you can't meet all the criteria, then you go to administration. Then you are not fit to run that club. And also you can see in Europe, they have traditional clubs. They have traditional. Previously, if you come to Accra, the only teams in the Premier League is Accra Great Olympics and Accra Hearts of Oak. You go to Kumasi, Cornerstones, and also Asante Kotoko. You understand? Name it. You go to Tamale, you have one strong team. So everybody in that community or in that region, they supporting that team. If you have divided this, then you have a derby there. So it becomes stronger. The arguments become, the interest of watching those games is higher. But today, I can have my money and try to meet one or two requirements in the FA, at the FA, and then form a team. Meanwhile, I know very well that my finance cannot manage the team. But I will be allowed to get in there because I can buy the team. No, in Europe, you don't. Clubs are being bought $5, £5, clubs. To sell a club is not expensive. You can buy a club cheap, but how to manage it, how to run that club, that's the most important thing, because you have to hire people to come and work. So I think when we put all these things in place, we can have an interesting league to watch.
Well, so for the final leg of the conversation, we'd want to take a quick look at the fixtures. And we've got 3 debutants in the Ghana Premier League, and we'll see how things go. So begins today, and there we go. Let's quickly take a look at it. So Dreams FC will host Summertex. Now, Dreams FC, from their last exploits in the CAF Confederation Cup, managed to get into the last stages of the competition, but unfortunately couldn't get the ultimate. So they're going up against the defending champions, FC Summertex, and that will be in just a little over an hour from now. That game will be played here in Accra, at the Accra Sports Stadium. And then, so that is the season opener, where the defending champions play that one game later this afternoon. Also, Vision FC. And before we go on, I need to just make a correction. You know, I just keep fluffing Monday and Tuesday. The game will be played, the Black Stars game will be played on Tuesday. It will be on Tuesday. Sorry, on Monday. It's on Monday at 3 p.m. Sorry about that, going back and forth on that. Okay, so Vision FC will face Brecum Chelsea at the Ni Ajay Kraku Sports Complex. That will be tomorrow on Sunday. Accra Hartsville will play Basake Holy Stars. They are debutants, and that game will be an interesting one to view. So Vision FC making their season debut. Their debut is the Ghana Premier League, same as Basake Holy Stars. Also, Karela United and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, one which sure will be a very, very interesting game away at the National Riga Sports Center. In Swatraman, who are Ghana's representatives in the CAF Confederation Cup, will host Young Apostles, also debutants in the Ghana Premier League. Adriana Stars playing Heart of Lions at the Jumambedu, the first park. Tomorrow, and also Gold Stars playing Legon Cities at Bibiani's Doom Park. Nations FC at Dr. Kwame Chase Sports Complex will host Bichem United. And then the newly opened Takwa Naboso Stadium, Accra Lions will go up against Midiama SC. Phillips Midiama FC. Very well. So gentlemen, very quick comments about any of these fixtures just as we wrap up the conversation. Let me begin with you, Philip. Your final thoughts on these fixtures before we wrap things up.
I'll be excited to see how Summertex, go through the rest of the season. Basically based on the fact that they've had a chance to play 2 games already. They've played 2 games already, so they sort of have a head start. They should be fitter, in terms of match fitness. So both them and then in Swatraman, I'm tipping them to, get a good start. And I'm also looking forward to the Midiama Accra Lions game. Accra Lions, they play fantastic football. They are one of the teams that are able to grind out results when they play away. And for Midiama, basically, champions 2 years ago, playing in a new stadium, I'm pretty sure the management is looking forward to clinch the title, back again. So these are, high-stake games that I'm looking forward to.
Very well. Thank you very much. Philip Asiwe is the player relations manager of the welfare body of Ghana Football, which is PFAG, the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana. We'll go to Kojo Adai-Mensah, who will do it in a minute for us, where his interest will lie this weekend. Kojo, let's have you in a minute or less. Final thoughts about the fixtures.
A few of my take on the Summertex game, on the Protocol game. Yeah, but one thing I want to quickly say is I think the FA made a move that I commend them on. They've removed all midweek games, and I think I'm happy about that because it takes a toll on the finances of the clubs, and so I think I'm happy that they give them enough rest time. Karela and those days RTU, Summertex 2 is very, 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 very fast. So I think removing the midweek games is a good thing. What I also would wish they do is they should also clear all outstanding games before any new games are played. Last season, it created a lot of suspicion that the outstanding games were being
manipulated. Okay.
Yes. So that would be my last comment on it.
Thank you. Kojo Adai-Mensah, seasoned football analyst and columnist as well, bringing his perspective to the conversation. Final word to Coach Laie Kingston, former Black Starlets coach.
Yes, for me, mine is simple. I'm going for a team that plays good football, modern trend football. So, Accra Lions, which I know that they have a very good coach, and previous years they've maintained their qualities in the Premier League. Apart from they twisting their hand to take results out of them. I've seen them play, and for me, it's interesting to watch Accra Lions. Sometimes the pitches doesn't help them the way they want to play, so I still have confidence in them. And then one new club that I will root for, and I believe they will do well. First time coming to the Premier League will be Vision. Vision, I know their head coach. I've worked with him, and I know the intelligent. He's very intelligent, and the modern trend too. We have something in him as well. So I'm looking forward to see him do well in the season this season, in the league this season. And I know that with the support of his technical team and the game plan that he's bringing on board week in, week out, can work for him. And so these two teams, I know they are going to play good football. But hey, if if this twisting hands and then winning, getting points out of them doesn't come to play, I think they're going to cause problems to most of the clubs.
Okay, thank you very much. Coach Laye Kingston, thank you so much for all the thoughts, and thank you to all of you for joining the show from all over the world. Ghana Premier League starts off in the next hour, and we're hoping that we're going to get loads and loads of excitements and big talking points to bring to all of us so we can lift the image of the local game. Thank you so much for all the thoughts, the contributions as well. And we sure will be doing some more during the week in major conversations. Let's just wrap up on one side on a solemn note and other on one of excitement. So our hearts from here, the whole team at Multimedia, go out to our general manager, Joy Brands here at the Multimedia Group, Fifi Kumsin, who is burying his father today. Fifi, we all love you so much. Thank you for all the service, and we will be supporting you very heavily this weekend as you bury your father. So Fifi Kumsin, our condolences to you. Fifi Kumsin is the general manager, Joy Brands here at the Multimedia Group. And then, of course, on the note of excitement, my mum is celebrating her birthday tomorrow. Esther Bakia J is my lovely mother. She's the one who's responsible, plus my late father, for all of this that you see and hear. And also my brother-in-law, Emmanuel Intibeku of CBG, is 40 on Monday. So Black Stars, make sure that you give my brother-in-law something to celebrate and be happy about on his 40th birthday. Happy birthday, happy 40th to Emmanuel Intibeku, and welcome to the 40s. This is how we wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Joy Sports Link. We will be back. Next weekend is the Habitat Fair, so we'll take it to a fortnight from today. Meanwhile, click on the sports page of myjoyonline.com for more sports stories. Thanks to the whole production team. We're out. See you in a fortnight's time. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I have love for sport. Well. I got you more year, I'm in young thing. I got you more year, I got you more year, I'm in young thing. I'm a guy, matu. I'm a guy, on young matu. I'm a guy, on young matu. I'm a guy, matu. I'm a guy, on young matu. I'm a guy, on young matu. I'm a girl when young but more we not that I got you more walk banya. Can you change any more baba? 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 Ni more baba. E baba. Can you change any more baba? Can you change any more baba? What you need? Can you change any more baba? Can you change any more baba? When you na me baba yo. Can you change any more baba? Can you change any more baba? Can you change any more baba? I got you more one year, I forget I got you more one year, I'm a young thing.
99.7 FM, and we're back with another great edition of the show. It's called Showbiz 8.